Johnny Tiger on Saturday, May 21st, 2022. I've had a bit of a stressful day. I deleted a whole bunch of emails in my on my computer running Outlook 2003 and spent the whole day trying to get them back, and so far, no luck. I emptied the deleted item folder before I realized what happened. So all those emails now is gone from my computer basically and have to be retrieved by someone who's a lot more knowledgeable than I am. And I couldn't get a hold of my tech guy all day long, and this happened to be a long weekend. God, I hate long weekends sometimes. But anyway, back to the topic at hand, survival Saturday. So, and today we really are going to talk about survival. Because today I'm going to show you the two most basic survival skills that you'll need: breaking and entering. Now, I'm not here to teach you how to commit crime. There are a lot of skills that you can either use it for good or for bad, but I think these are things that really every person should know. This is the kind of things they teach in Scout, I believe, and in military, in survival, in all kind of uh, scenario. So, just in case you have not had the fortune of having trainings like this, I want to give you some of the basics on how to break glass and how to break down a door. These may be very vital things that you might save your life sometime. If you get trapped inside a car, you get trapped outside the house, don't laugh. I actually did have to break down my own door a couple of times when I locked myself out of the house. Okay, uh, sometimes things like that just happen. Okay, now nowadays, for breaking glass, usually when we say talk of breaking glass, we're thinking about, okay, what if you are in car accident and the door won't open and you need to get out of the car before it explodes, right? Or let's say you have to get out of the house. The house is burning and you need to get out, but the doorway is blocked. Right? Now in the house, it's a little bit easier because there's all kind of stuff you can use in the house. This is my tactical pen. I don't usually go anywhere without it. Usually, even when I'm around the house, I have it on my person as well. This is one of your most vital tools for this task. Because as you can see on the back end, there's pointy stuff. Yes, it is great for self-defense. Someone come at me, I can do a lot of things to them they don't like with this. But this is primarily called a glass breaker. Now, what constitutes a glass breaker? We see now here on the back of my tactical pen, there's this angular piece. This is called a glass breaker. And let me show you guys quickly. Uh, Even though I think I showed this before, on some of the knives you can buy, such as the Shrike Viper Generation 3 here. On the back, there's also a little knob here called a glass breaker. What constitutes a glass breaker? The glass breaker, it has to be pointy and it has to be made of a material harder than glass. Okay, this is very important. If it's softer than glass, and a lot of you may be surprised to learn how hard glass really is. Glass is some really hard material. Okay, most likely harder than your kitchen knife, a steak knife, a butter knife, and stuff like that. Probably even harder than this particular knife, right? So material that can break glass, obviously diamond, or if you have solid pointy steel that can concentrate a lot of force, like these glass breakers. So having a glass breaker on you, on knife, or on a tactical pen, obviously is very important. But then what do you do? What do you just like when things happen, when bad things happen, do you just go ahead and I'm not actually going to break my window, hopefully, but do you just go ahead and whack the window with the glass breaker on the end of your knife, on the end of your pen? Well, if you don't have any better recourse, then yes, this is what you will have to do. Uh, if you have a very good throwing arm, it might not be a bad idea to throw this rather than hitting it with your glass breaker. Uh, Hitting a large piece of glass with your hand around a relatively small object like a knife or a pen, it's dangerous. Okay, I'm not going to tell you guys that it's going to hit the window and then it's going to shatter and you won't get hurt. Most likely, you will get cut up really badly. So this is not what we want to do, preferably. Okay, so we got our glass breaker, and there's an emergency. We need to get out of here. Now, how do we go about doing this without getting messed up ourselves? We take a piece of cloth. If you don't have a pillowcase or a piece of cloth ready at hand, then what you want to do is take off your shirt or jacket and wrap your arm around this, right? And then you hold your glass breaker and then you hit the glass with your hand wrapped. This is option one, okay? Option two, I'll show you an even safer option and take a lot less work. The thing is, when you hit a window with your glass breaker by holding it and swinging it at the window, it will still take a lot of force, and you do not want to muscle it unless you can't help it, because if you swing too hard and the glass breaks, and your hand goes through the glass and you get cut up, right? Okay, so everything has to be nice and controlled. So how do we do this? Very safe. Let me show you that. I'll hold uh, the glass breaker, my tactical pen, in my left hand, and with my right hand, I'm going to put the piece of cloth over the tactical pen, right? And now I'm going to have this against the window, my pen already against the window, with a piece of cloth draped over it, and me holding onto it with my left hand. With my right hand, I reach across. This is why you want to practice taking out your tool, your knife, from all kinds of different angles. I reach across my body, take out my trusty karambit, thread my finger through the ring. This is the beauty about a karambit. It's a small knife, but with a dangle on your finger like this, you swing it quite hard. You swing it with a lot of force. Okay? So, with my left hand on the tactical pen, which has a piece of cloth draped over it, I'm moving it so I don't actually break my window, right? And I'm going to swing the karambit on my right hand and whack, hit my tactical pen like I'm hammering a nail, right? Like I'm hammering a nail. This will break the glass in a very much more controlled manner, right? So just remember that. Put the instrument against the window, put a piece of cloth over it, your shirt will do. Hold on to it like you're getting ready to set a nail into the wall, and then hit the back end with another tool, with your knife or your shoe, whatever. No, you probably don't want to hit it with your hand. It's going to kind of hurt. Okay? By the way, if you're in a pinch, you can hit it with your phone. I don't recommend it. iPhone is expensive, but if the house is burning down, that phone actually does make a pretty good hammer for the glass breaker. After you break the glass, it is very vital to make sure that you take your knife and then you hammer out the edges, because not the whole thing is going to shatter. Sometimes it only breaks the middle and you still have a lot of jagged parts. Okay, you do not want to climb through that. You want to take your knife and start chipping away the edge of the glass until it's all nice and safe. You're not going to get cut in half when you climb through, and then you climb through. Okay, always make sure that you take care of that, because glass is very sharp, very dangerous. Now, let's look at the proper way to break down the door. Like I said, personal experience with this one. Let me reposition the camera. By the way, I understand the angle is really wonky on these, um, but hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. If you can't, let me know. So anyway, hopefully you can see the door. What we have here, the door, and obviously if you want to break through a door, hopefully the door opens outward, right? If the, if the door opens inward, then it's a lot of work. Okay, let me tell you that if the door opens towards you, this is going to be a rough night for you. This is going to be really hard work. Okay? So, what happens if the door opens towards you? Well, if the door opens towards you, then what you want to do is you want to aim for the absolute center of that door, okay, as much as possible. And you probably want to pick an edge, like either the bottom edge or the top edge. Okay? So you want to go to the center and aim for the down or up. Up is difficult. I recommend down. Okay? And don't do the crazy thing that people do in the movie by throwing their whole body against the door. Unless you're really, really good at it, this is not going to work. Okay? If I have to bust down this door from the inside, then I'm going to hopefully have my shoes on. I'm going to start kicking near the bottom, okay, near the center, right in the middle, near the bottom, right? This is of course assuming that you don't have some better tools like an axe. This is why we keep axes at home, right? For situations just like that, right? If I'm trapped in here and I have one of these baby handy, then no problem. Probably after 10, 20 chops, we'll make short work of this door. No problem. Now don't forget the chance of you getting stuck while the door swing inside toward you, that's actually quite rare. Usually you're stuck on the wrong other side. Usually you're stuck on the outside of the door. Okay? So how do you break a door if you're on the other side? If the door open away from you? Well, that's actually a lot easier. Okay? What I do usually is I kick the hell out of it. Usually only take 2 kicks. And what you want to do is if you want to aim for right around the knob, the doorknob, right around the doorknob. Why is that? Let me show you guys a little experiment to illustrate the logic or the science behind this. Take your hand, make a blade, and put your fingertips against the wall. Okay, now that is the door. Your hand is the door. Right? And where your fingertip meets the wall is the door jamb, where the knob is. The rest of your arm, that's the door. Right? So if I take my other hand and hit my arm, the rest of my arm away from my fingertip. That's really easy for me to resist, okay? That means it's not going to bust the door open very easily. If I take my other hand and hit my hand, aka the door, close to where it joins the wall, out it goes, right? The further away you are from the jam, the connecting point, the less force it will apply to break open that door. Then you actually have to break the wood of the whole door, which is difficult, right? So what you want is hit that near the jam, near the knob with sufficient force so the tongue on the doorknob will bust through this section of the wall right by the doorknob and break. That will allow the door to open. Some people say, well, why can't I kick the other end, the hinge end? Wouldn't that accomplish the same thing? Well, if you kick hard enough, yes, but don't forget there's usually a top hinge and a bottom hinge, and the hinges are very well set into the wall. So that's usually a lot harder than destroying the knob end of the door. Okay, so how you go about kicking this is up to you. Some people use their knee, some people use their hip. There's nothing wrong with using your hip to break a door. That's actually a very good way to focus your pressure. Just stand about a foot away from the door with your side to the door, find your spot, and then swing your hip into the door. Right? That's fine too. If you want to be a cool guy like me, then you take your foot and boom, 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 kick the door near the doorknob. Right? You can do it that way too. As long as you get it done, no problem. I hope you guys enjoy these and don't go breaking other people's houses, please. And hopefully you never have to use not just these. I hope you never have to use any of the stuff you learn on this channel. Not the survival stuff or tactical stuff. Uh, for now, this is it, folks. We'll be back again tomorrow for Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good weekend.